There's a comment that often comes up when I share portraits made with the Samyang 35mm f1.4 Mark II, where people are asking me if 35mm is not too wide for portraits as it distorts people's faces. This is because of a misconception out there. So in this video, we are going to explore together how focal length affects portraits. In order to put this myth to rest, I am going to use various focal lengths, the new Mark II lenses, and the 135 from Samyang to shoot a portrait of Peter who's going to stand still for each photo.
It's okay.
In order to have a very similar composition, I will move the camera closer as I change the focal length. Luckily, Atomos introduced a great tool with the Ninja V, and it's called Onion Skin, and it allows you to capture a screen which you can use as an overlay to use as a guide for the rest of the photos. So I will use the 135mm image as my overlay, and with the help of the Ninja V, I will use the eyes and the mouth as reference points for the rest of my photographs. Now I have my photographs, so it's time to compare them against each other. What I am going to do now is to show you the images and mark them with letters so you can pause the video and try to figure out which focal length was used on each photo. If you guessed A50, B 135mm, C 35, and D 85, then you guessed wrong. In fact, all of those images are taken with the 35mm but from different distances, and then I cropped them to have the same composition. But to show you how it would look with each focal length, here are the images from the same distances as before, but this time with the different lenses. This time for real. For sure. You can see as I got closer for each focal length to keep the same composition, the face shows the distortion. But again, it is not because of the change in focal length, but because of the change in distance to the subject. To further prove this, I will take a photo with each focal length from the same location, and then I will crop the image to have the same composition. So as you can see, the difference is in the bokeh, but not the distortion of the face. Basically, due to the cropping of the image, all of them are affected by the crop factor, just like if it were a smaller sensor. Hence, my depth of field is affected by this crop factor. But let me be cheeky this time and step down the lenses to have the same bokeh on each photo. This time, all photos were taken from the same distance, but different focal lengths, and each lens stopped down to create the exact same image. Can you tell which one is the 35mm and which one is the 135? So as you can see, focal length does not distort the face. It's the distance from the subject, which means you can even use a 14mm lens to create a portrait, including a lot of the environment like I did in this photo. Obviously, if you want to do a tight headshot, then use the 135 as you will be able to stand further from your subject and by that avoid distortion of the face. But it's just a guide and not a rule, as a closer portrait with a 35mm lens could create closeness to your subject, like this photo taken by Peter while doing street portraits. I hope you guys found this video informative and will help you to choose the right lens when you are shooting portraits next time, and don't be afraid to use unconventional lenses for portrait photos. Just try not to go crazy like this. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.
Hello? Hello? Untie me, please?